Power to the truth. This is Margo. This is Saturday, March 2nd, 2019, 4:24 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. We've got another jam-packed show today, and first of all, I'd like to thank all of the nice comments that were left under my show from yesterday and welcoming me back and after my few days out and all that. I'm recovering, but it'll take a little time, but I'm here, and this is my therapy session to get things off my chest and to share with you what I find in this mixed up, crazy end times world that we're living in, and to offer support and to be here so that we can be here together. So we're going to start out with CAMS, Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Services, and they don't have any new data on methane, but we haven't looked at carbon dioxide in a long time, so I thought we'd look at that. And they only have one day up, and it's for Monday, February 25th, so it's 5 days old, but anyway, we'll take what we can get. I've chosen the global level and total column level for us to look at, and I've already got the movie loaded up, and so you can see that in the northern hemisphere from the equator up, it's really getting a lot darker than what we've seen. And here's the scale at the bottom. This color I'm pointing to, this kind of brownish color, is 414 parts per million. That's like that, about that color there. And then as it gets darker, it goes higher. This one, this darker brown, is 418. Then the top end, the darkest, is up to 1,000, between 420 parts per billion, parts per million, and 1,000 parts per million. So we can see that China is the heaviest with the carbon dioxide. They are the highest polluting country in the world that we've seen, and it's for lots of different reasons. You can do your own research on that. And in this total column level, it just really spreads out worldwide and gathers in the northern hemisphere. And so it's going up like we've been seeing. It's not going down no matter what they do. And look, you can see the wave coming off of the US and coming and swirling around over the the Atlantic, and then heading on, then that heads on up into the Arctic. So that's what we've got. So I'm going to pause that, and we're going to take a peek at Arctic sea ice right now. I'll just get that set up for my background for later. We're going to go over comments today. We've got some world and climate news to go over, and we've got earthquakes. So just sit back and let's see what's going on in our world. I have NASA World View from today pulled up. This is the Arctic view. Let's reload and make sure we've got all the latest data in. And so we're just missing a little piece over here in the Bering Strait, but we can go back and look at that if we want to. That, by the way, that area is ice-free. Here it is from yesterday, and this Bering Strait is ice free, and I have an article that I'm going to share with you today regarding the lack of sea ice in the Bering Strait at this time of year. These are clouds here, and it looks like this is the edge of the sea ice along here. So we can also turn on, we can do a couple of things to see where the ice is. This is where you see the colors, that means there are no clouds. But what we can also do is turn on our sea ice concentration layer, but we have to go back a couple of days. So there is a little bit of ice, but it's so thin, it's not enough to write home about, seriously. See, it's just barely like pond scum out here on the edge. So they're calling this Bering Strait ice free. So this is from excuse me, 2 days ago on the 28th. And so we can look at the whole Arctic like this. This black area is where it's still in the dark, where the sun hasn't come up, but we can see the outline of the sea ice here, and the darker the blue, the thinner it is, and the less concentrated it is. So I'm going to turn that off. We're going to move on forward, and we're just going to scan around and see what we can see up here. And we're going to now see Greenland is almost all in the sun now. We can see this dark circle, this black circle is getting smaller day by day now that the sun is coming up. Most of Svalbard is in the sun now. These little islands to the north of Novaya Zemlya are going to be in the sun soon. All of Novaya Zemlya is in the sun, and the whole coastline of the Arctic is in the sun now, except for this little part on the northern edge of Greenland and this northern part of Canada, the Canadian islands there. So within a few days, probably within about 3 or 4 days, we'll be able to see all of the coastline. So that will be interesting. We'll be looking at this sea ice as we can. So let's start with just taking a peek at Greenland and see what we can see. I'm going to move that up. And we've got a lot of clouds. Depending on how thick the clouds are, we can see the edge of the ice just barely around the coast here on this eastern side. On the western side, there's no sea ice down here. It comes in up here somewhere, but that's a lot of clouds. And then we can move around, and then here's Iceland, and there's no ice around Iceland. And remember, we saw a bunch of earthquakes up here. Remember my 7-day earthquake report yesterday. We saw a lot of earthquakes going on up here in this Arctic region. So here it is, open water. Here's the sea ice next to Greenland. Oh, before we go on, I want to show you something else. This will probably help on Climate Reanalyzer, will probably help you to understand what's going on. Here's the 2-meter temperature anomaly from today, Saturday the 2nd, and look at over half of the Arctic is in the red, and that's at least 20 degrees or higher Celsius, or or 20 degrees Celsius or higher, that's more than normal, than it would normally be. And we can even see it going up into the whitish area, so 25 and 30 degrees Celsius higher than they normally are this time of year. And so the North Pole is right about here in the middle, and so this, whatever sea ice is here, it's going to be exposed as soon as the sun is coming up, and I expect that the sea ice will be melting in short order. So I just wanted to show everybody that. Now, here's Svalbard. We can see no ice on the southern side, and here's a little bit of tiny ice that's come back barely just recently on this eastern side. Here's the edge of the ice. It's quite thin. Here's Novaya Zemlya, and there's a thin cover of clouds that we're having to look through, but we can see the whole island and just a little tiny bit of sea ice around the edge, but it's pretty much ice-free on this western side. And on the eastern side, looking through the clouds, the ice is not up to the coastline of Novaya Zemlya. It's out. Here's the ice out here. And this is as of today. And then here's the coastline of Russia. And here's the coastline. It goes in and around and comes around, and now all of this is in view. And this is weird. Okay, so here's the Chukchi Sea over here. Back out and get some perspective. Here's the Chukchi Sea over here. This is where that East Siberia ice shelf is. It's like all the way across here, pretty much. And right over here in this area, I can't remember if it's over here or over here is where Natalia Shikova did her research. They went and drilled down with the into the sediment and everything and found all the methane. But it's up here in this area. But I want to show you something. This is so freaky. Okay, first of all, here, this is the ice surface temperature layer, and so this shows where there are no clouds, because they can only measure the ice surface temperature where there are no clouds. So this is ice-free, cloud-free. Pardon me, I'm having a brain fart today. And then look at the demarcation in the temperature here and how it goes. This is all ice here. We'll be able to see that pretty good. Here's a little bit of cloud, and then this is the coastline here. And look, here's when it gets into the greens, it's warmer than these blues. So look at how it just shifts like a really sharp edge with the demarcation of the temperature. Like right here, it's 256 Kelvin, and then the dark blue is 245 Kelvin. So now you see where the drop off was. Look at this, and when we zoom in, the ice is separate. The ice it's in like these different pieces already. I don't know if this is how it froze, but you can see a definite demarcation but this is all ice. This is all sea ice here. So I don't know. I seriously don't know what's going on here. See? So this is much warmer on this edge here than, so this is the warm area. So maybe it's already melting. I don't know, but it's kind of freaky. And if anybody has any ideas on this, you know, leave it in the comments section. It looks like that's a line where the ice is breaking up already. Those are some huge cracks. And we can see it's not solid. We can see it's not solid sea ice. So this is what's come into view so far. So the Arctic was struggling all winter and we just couldn't see it. We just couldn't see what was going on. So it looks like this from here over to the coast is like one like group of ice, and then starting here it's like separated and it's coming apart and it's melting. It's a lot warmer, and we can actually see the ocean underneath there where it's come apart. See that? And I don't know what that blue line is. But we got the same thing going on over here. And look at this sea. Look at how broken up this is. Look at that. That's open water right there. We're looking through a little bit of clouds. But I'd say our sea ice is in big trouble. And that's just what we can observe so far. And you know, a lot of times the North Pole is covered in clouds, and it's hard to see what's going on up here because of all the cloud cover. What's going on up here? Here's water. This is not frozen. Look at this. Next to that's Greenland. So on this west side, look, this is open water. There's no sea ice right here. It picks up right here. See what? See? Look at that temperature, 268 Kelvin. Let's see, 269 Kelvin. So when you see pictures and you see extent and it's showing it all this different extent, that's very deceptive, because you have to really look at the ice and see what it looks like and see how thick it is, and if it's in the integrity of it, and if there are a lot of cracks in it. Uh-oh. Hang on, here we go. So over here we're in the Beaufort Sea. Look at this. Here's the ice, and here's Alaska. I mean, not, wait, here's Alaska over here. This is Canada, but look at the coastline. A huge area. Let's see. Yeah, there are no clouds there. That's the ice. That's the ice edge. And it's not very thick at all. So this is going to be melting really fast. I'm kind of flipping out looking at this. Then it's here's some chunks, and here's Alaska, here's Barrow. It's a little more concentrated over here, but if here you go. Look at that. That tells the picture. Right there. That tells the picture. This is why I like using all these different websites with the charts. I mean, not the charts, but with the pictures and the computer models, because we can understand it a lot better. It really brings it home. So now I want to take a peek at the Antarctic while we're here. Just give us a little update of what's going on. Okay, here at the southern end, this is the Ross Ice Shelf. We can see that all the sea ice has melted. These are clouds over it. This is the Ross Ice Shelf here, and here's that Ross Island. There's the volcano, Mount Erebus. It's all in the clouds today. But you can see that the ice has pretty much melted from around almost all of the Antarctic now. Here's a little bit left. It's just not much at all. And then over here, here's, where was I going? I got lost. Here's Pine Island Glacier, where we saw that big iceberg break off, and that's as close as I can get in, but it almost looks like there's a new crack forming there. It's a little jagged right there on the bottom. So we can see that here's that big piece that broke off. That's what's left of it. And so that's all going out to sea, depending on how far it gets before the sun goes down there. And then coming on up to, this is the Western Peninsula, and all your Larsen ice shelves are over here. And remember, we were tracking this iceberg, this A68. This had broken off of this Larsen C ice shelf, and here's there's the line where it had broken off, and it hung around for a season down here, and then it started moving around, and we've been tracking this. And the last time I showed this, about a week or 10 days ago, it was about at the 10 o'clock position. It was pointing up like that, remember? And look how it's rotated around, and it looks like it's ready to go. It's ready to go on its trip, but there is some sea ice there. Maybe it's going to hold it in. Maybe everything will refreeze before it gets on its trip out to the way to the wild blue yonder. I don't know, but there it is, and it looks like I can't tell if that's just more sea ice that's kind of piled up next to it, or if it started breaking apart. it might have started breaking apart. I'm thinking it started breaking apart. And nobody's reporting on this one. They're reporting on everything else. But no one's showing this or reporting on this. I think it's fascinating to see this. And then over here, this is the Weddell Sea over here. This is the Weddell ice shelf. And remember that article that I shared about them having to move that Antarctic base? I have not found exactly where that is. I'm not sure where it is down here. I haven't been able to find it exactly. I've been looking, and I found it on Google Earth, but the coordinates are different. They shouldn't be different, but the coordinates seem to be different on Google Earth than on Worldview. I'm thinking it could be because of the magnetic poles, and I don't know. But it's down here somewhere. I think it's right down here. I was trying to zoom in and get a look at it, but I haven't been able to find it. And then we can see that there's virtually no sea ice around this northern edge, just a little skim of ice. And then coming on around, here's the Amory ice sheet here, and coming on around, that's the coast, and just this little bit of ice. So there you have it. So they're getting close to the end of their summer. Soon we'll start seeing the black dots starting in the middle down here as the sun starts going down, and we won't be able to see. And then it'll get bigger and bigger and bigger as the one in the Arctic goes away. So there's that. So that's all I had to show you for there. I'm going to leave that up in case we want to come back to NASA Worldview. Now we're going to hop over. I'm going to quickly go through our news items from my Facebook page. I liked the way we did that yesterday, and then I just copied and pasted the link onto my show notes. That was really easy for me and saved a lot of time. And I've gotten some good feedback on that format, so I'm gonna try and continue with that. So our first post is from Oroville News Live, and it's a winter travel advisory that was posted today. This is from Northwest, the Sacramento area. Winter travel advisory. Let's see. Let me go back. Here, look at what they've got going on. Here's the forecast with here's the Sierra Nevada mountains where we've had so much snow. I live over here on this side, and so they've got a lot of rain and snow, and then this is chain controls over here. You have to have chains and snow tires and then all that. So there's that. That's a snow forecast for Saturday through Sunday night. So they're expecting more snow. And our storm came in last night. We got a little bit of rain where I live. It wasn't very windy, so I'm thinking, so Reno is doing okay. Now, look at this. Look at this picture. This one is from AccuWeather.com, and this is from March the 1st. High winds, frigid temperatures leave waterfront house completely encased in 4 feet of ice. This looks like something out of the Day After Tomorrow movie. Seriously, look at that. A combination of water spray and frigid winds encase a waterfront home along Lake Ontario. Oh my God. Look, the tree is even covered in ice. It's like it just got sprayed down and just froze immediately. The same strong winds that caused ice tsunamis earlier this week, and I was going to report on that before my modem fried, have caused water spray from Lake Ontario to encase homes in Pulaski, New York, creating a tremendous winter spectacle. Social media photos showing homes enveloped in 3 to 4 feet of ice created a stir with internet users. WSTM-TV of Syracuse reports that many of the owners of these ice houses live out of town and might be unaware of the condition of their property. This lady was not out of town, though. Maureen Whelan found her waterfront house encased in a layer of ice up to a few feet thick on Monday. She and her neighbor on the beach worry about the damage that may occur when the ice melts. When that starts melting, we're just very fearful that it's going to come and ruin the house. Or maybe she's not home. Wouldn't that be something to be stuck in there? You wouldn't be able to go out. I don't even know if you'd be able to open your door. You couldn't walk on it. You'd be falling down. Your car would be encased in it. I mean, everything. This just blows my mind. And here's what it looks like without the ice. That looks nice. Not very nice right now. And here's someone, Berta Smith says, so this is my friend's summer home at Ramona Beach in Pulaski, New York on Lake Ontario. Camp is under 4 feet of ice. My heart is broken. Many memories on this beach I grew up on. The high water levels are awful. Something needs to be done. 50 years of living there, nothing like this never happened. We lived there year-round and never had this happen. Well, times have changed, and this is evidence of abrupt climate change. Here's another one. In 2017, a house in West Webster, New York, along the shore of Lake Ontario, also froze over. That looks like the same picture. This one's 2019. Here's one. Like father, like daughter. Capture yesterday of Lake Ontario ice house in the North Country. My capture of Lake Ontario ice house in West Webster, New York, 2 years ago. Just another NYS winter. Look at that. I'm thinking that would cause a ton of damage. So no matter where you live, you're going to be affected by abrupt climate change, and it's going to be unusual things that happen. It's going to be things that you don't expect. I mean, who would have thought that? Seriously, who would have thought that? Next, death from above. You ready? Another creepy from Futurism.com. Death from above. Boeing unveils autonomous fighter jet. Aerial combat will never be the same. This is from February 27th from Botgun. Military contractor Boeing announced Wednesday that it is developing an autonomous fighter jet plane that it plans to sell to customers around the world. The company plans to fly the pilot-free plane, dubbed the Boeing Air Power Teaming System, sometime in 2020. Well, that's not very far off. While the company says it can design the plane according to a given customer's needs, the autonomous jet may be particularly well suited for long-distance surveillance missions that a human pilot may not be able to perform, according to Reuters. Remote control. Though Boeing declined to share its new plane's top speed with Reuters, an autonomous vehicle would feasibly be able to travel faster and farther than a human pilot's physiology would allow, opening the door to new types of missions. So they're talking G-force, they're talking atmospheric conditions, not needing, if they don't have a pilot, they don't care about the G-force, or if there's air in the cockpit or anything like that. So I'm thinking they could go up higher and go into areas that are not suitable for a human pilot. To bring that extra component and the advantage of unmanned capability, you can accept a higher level of risk. Flexible machines. Though Boeing has close ties with the U.S. military, the company reportedly plans to sell its autonomous jet to customers worldwide. The U.S. Air Force has already discussed plans to complement crewed jets with autonomous systems, but other countries would be able to use the Boeing Air Power Teaming System in other ways as well. We didn't design this as a point solution, but a very flexible solution that we could outfit with payloads, sensors, different mission sets to complement whatever their fleet is. Don't think of it as a specific product that is tailored to do only one mission. And so there you have it. So, and then you can click the link if you want to read more. So there's that. There's just another way to die, as we're living in this satanic world. AI, robots. They want to get rid of all the humans. Okay. This was from Oroville News. Actually, it's an old post, but I'm keeping up with the Oroville Dam. They had a road closure on the Oroville Dam Boulevard because they were going to do blasting on February 27th, because they're still working on finishing up all the spillway and everything. So we didn't see any earthquakes from the 27th there, so I guess they didn't blast enough to cause an earthquake that would show up on USGS. And it says the short blasting is done as part of the work around the main spillway to improve hillside safety. The blasting will be similar to those completed in the past several weeks, so we anticipate similar noise levels locally. Please be aware there will be more construction blasting in the coming weeks that will require road closures. We apologize for any inconvenience and will notify you if there are any changes. Thanks for your continued patience. Well, I just now found that post today. So I didn't know about the blasting, so there you go. There's that. Next, Um, this post was shared by a couple of people, and Cindy Earnshaw, I think she lives in Alaska. She says, and she shared the original post, she says, what used to be a given in Alaska, enough snow and ice to run the Iditarod and a slew of other sled dog races without much worry, is now fraught with perennial uncertainty. The cosmic question is how long races like the Iditarod in places like Alaska can keep finding long, continuous threads of snow and ice in a region warming more quickly than most places on the planet. And so this other guy shared it, Born Olson. There are many climate impacts that affect me personally, but witnessing the slow death of our unique Alaskan culture is the one that hurts the most. It's like one of those nightmare dreams where you're trying to help someone escape some horror, but your feet are stuck in a viscous goo, and you can't move fast enough to be of service. Kim and I fat biked the Iditarod Trail in 2014, a year the trail committee should have rerouted the race to start in Fairbanks. I'll never forget all the sadness and anger we saw and felt in the dog yard in Roan, on the north side of the Alaska Range. A record number of mushers scratched and flew out from this remote checkpoint, powerful men and women openly crying, having to give up their dream. So they can't do the dog sledding anymore because it's all melting. So here's the article from the New York Times. But I like the personal observations better. I mean the articles are good, but the personal observations bring it home. So this is from the New York Times. It says the mush in the Iditarod may soon be melted snow. Climate change is forcing cancellations of and changes in sled dog races in Alaska and Canada, including the most famous of them all. Look at that. You can't sled on that. That's all melting. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it on NASA Worldview. This is the Deshka River, which is often a part of the Iditarod Trail sled dog race. Concerns about open water force officials to adjust the course from year to year. So this was from yesterday, the 19th, and it's from Anchorage. And a few miles and a few days from this weekend start of the Iditarod sled dog race, a glaciologist named Shad O'Neill stood in his sun-drenched office at the United States Geological Survey talking about climate change, and so on and so forth. O'Neill pulled out a color-coded map of mountain ranges in the southern part of the state, including the Alaska Range, through which 52 sled dog teams raced north along the Iditarod Trail on their 1,000-mile trek to Nome. Most ranges were deep shades of red, meaning the glaciers there had lost enormous quantities of mass measured in enormous sounding units like gigatons. Wow. So there's that. So I will leave the link below there. So abrupt climate change is ending sled dog racing, or changing the routes, and then eventually they'll be gone. This one is from the BBC. Marsden Moorland Fire. Apocalyptic moorland blaze put out. This was from February 27th. This is out of England. Here's this fire, and they said it was different from all the other fires they had. They got it put out, thank goodness. Fire crews have extinguished a huge blaze on moorland in West Yorkshire. The fire, described by one witness as apocalyptic, started at about 1930 GMT on Tuesday and covered about 1.5 square kilometers of land near Marsden. West Yorkshire Fire and Rescue said it was one of the biggest moorland fires we've ever had to deal with. It came as the UK broke the record for the warmest winter day for a second time, and on the same day as a gorse fire on Arthur's Seal in Edinburgh. Following a night spent tackling the blaze near Saddleworth Moor between Huddersfield and Manchester, a fire service spokesperson said the fire now looks to be out. However, they said crews and specialist moorland firefighting units will remain at the scene for much of the day to tackle any further hotspots. At its height, more than 35 firefighters were in attendance at the National Trust property, and the A62 between Colne Valley and Diggle was closed as a precaution. Look at that. So this was in February this happened. It's winter time. You're not supposed to have fires in the winter. It was one of the highest flame fronts we have seen, with flames of up to 2 meters high, and it was moving fast across the moorland. The fire looks to be out, etc. There were no reports of any injury. People living near the scene have been advised to stay indoors and keep their doors and windows shut. Look at that. And, you know, that doesn't seem very big compared to what we've seen in other places like Australia and over here in California and different places. But for such a small area, that's huge. And the fact that it happened in February, in the middle of winter, is huge. So, there you go. Victims of abrupt climate change. Next, here is another Oroville news update. Here's what it looks like on I-80, Interstate 80 at Kingvale. Here's the latest highway conditions for Sierra travelers this morning. This was posted today. Chain controls on I-80 over Donner Summit and US 50 over Echo Summit. Chains required for Tahoe Basin roadways. Highway 89 around Emerald Bay is closed. That's at Lake Tahoe. So there's the picture, so that's what it looks like. So that's what they're dealing with. Next, here's some pictures of, these are recovered vehicles from the Paradise Fire. Look at that. This was just posted. That's awful. There's nothing. I mean, it's like, it's just the shell. It's like it just burned from the inside out, it looks like. That's so freaky looking. And how it warped the roofs of the cars, and like, just look at that. I mean, just, unbelievable. Let me close that out. Here is the sea ice almost gone at Norton Sound. Conditions uncannily similar to last March. This is from February 28th. Sea ice extent has been reduced to almost nothing due to the latest series of storms that hit several communities in the Bering Strait region. Open water can now be seen from the shores of Unalakleet, Shishmaref, and elsewhere along the west coast of Alaska. We just saw that. A sight that is historically abnormal for this time of year. We just saw that. Saw that on NASA Worldview. So here's that article. And I think I've got some more posts, but I think I'm gonna stop there. And if people want to go to my Facebook page, you can see everything. So now I'm going to save. I don't want to lose all those. And now let's move over to comments. Oh, hang on. I have to take a short break. Okay, I'm back. So, I don't know if we'll be able to get caught up on comments or not. We're going to cover what we can. So, starting with not my video from last night, but the video before that, we had one comment from that one that I hadn't shared. From Doogie Dog, says, "Thank you, Margo. God is a God of excellency and high standards. It is no surprise to me that you feel called to focus on key topics and not be all over the map, no pun intended. This is really how expertise is cultivated. Because of your gentle but direct style, you're easy to listen to. Some people are very good at their reports, but they infuse so much emotion it can be draining. No doubt they watch you. They want to know what's going on too, then steal your body of work at the right time. But you are protected and in God's hand always. We love you too." Thank you, Doogie Dog. I appreciate that. I don't know if people are stealing my work. I don't really watch other people that much anymore. At least not on climate change. I just do my own thing. But thanks for being here. And then so that one was from my sulfur dioxide and earthquake report from a couple back. Anyway, this one was from methane and sulfur dioxide and earthquake report. This was the one before the last one. Colin Shaw says, "Hi Margo, I listened to your very informative and detailed reports before I fall asleep. Plenty hot in Western Australia. Best time to absorb new information when the brain moves into its alpha waves, then endorphins to finally sleep. I like the way you go over spiritual discussion at comment time. Very refreshing to hear someone which places true concern and importance on such vital subjects, movements of the earth and spirit. pleasure to listen and watch. Thank you, Colin. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you being here. Sensible Hair says, thanks, Margo. Record temps being smashed worldwide. Yeah, they are. They are. Thank you, Sensible Hair. And then Robin Westenra, Seymour Rocks 97, says, I've done my own retelling of Michael Schellenberg, Shill for the Nuclear Industry. And you can go to his blog right there and click on that. And, I talked about my Novaya Zemlya video and different things. And so Robin put all of that in his blog post, so people can click on that and go see that. So let's make sure to get that in the show links too. Thanks, Robin, for writing that up and for posting it and for all your help and research. And then this was under one of my Mankind in Amnesia. I started reading Immanuel Velikovsky's book, Mankind in Amnesia. I'd only got it through the introduction in the first chapter. It was 4 parts is what I did, but if I have time, I'll do some more on that. But I encourage people, do your own. Read it yourself. Go get the book from the library. Read it yourself. Anyway, Robert Evans says, all 4 parts nicely done. Thank you. You're welcome, Robert. Thank you for your comment. And then the comments started while I was out. Robin says, we're already missing you. I've done my own Reader's Digest update, and here's he did a little climate and methane update for February 21st through the 26th on his blog. So let's make sure to get that copied over. So here's his short version, and then he shows Novaya Zemlya, where it's all in the sun, and where the sea ice, there's like no sea ice, and it's being beamed. So thanks, Robin, for doing that and for keeping us all in the loop. And then I'm not gonna read all those comments about the power and all that. People are saying, come back, I'm getting withdrawal symptoms. That's cute. Thank you. But I thank you for DDDSB for your comments, and Gary Zod. And then under my Novaya Zemlya video that I talked about, Rosemary Hill left some really good comments. She says, Margo, I know that you were moved by God's wisdom and direction to do this research and present the devastating conclusion. A voice crying out in the wilderness to those souls God wants to reach before the imminent end of time. When men deny the existence and sovereignty of God, He turns them over to the desires of their hearts, which is only evil. Evil men and evil empires. Russia has destroyed everything. The first nuclear bombs Russia tested were built in Mayak nuclear reactor, beginning in 1949. In 1957, it blew up. Here's a link to the nuclear disaster of Kishtim. So we can click there, and it tells all about the disaster of 1957 and politics of the Cold War and all kinds of stuff. So, see, Rosemary did her own research and is sharing with us. Thank you, Rosemary. And thank you for your comment and for your confirmation. I know you understand. You get it, and I know you understand. And then she says, under the same video, "You're so right, Margo. Mother Earth, our second womb, has never had a chance. Satan the destroyer tempted men, and they sold their souls. As a space where terrestrial jurisdiction did not apply, the ocean has often seemed to present a convenient solution to messy problems that nobody wanted. Unwanted things, whether people or objects, could simply be loaded onto a ship and sent away." Using the image of the legendary ghost ship, the Flying Dutchman, this article traces the journeys of several ships and their cargoes of toxic waste in the 1970s and 80s. So here we go to that link. So yeah, they've been using the ocean just to dump whatever they wanted. I'm not going to accept cookies right now. It's got, you can download the PDF on that. Tales of Toxic Waste in a Globalized World. I'm sure that's more good information if people want to read it. So we'll leave that below. Thank you, Rosemary. We appreciate that very much. And then she says, seems that in the 1950s the U.S. Navy disposed of nuclear waste off the East Coast in the ocean. Read it and weep for Mother Earth. I'm out of this radioactive waste disposal rabbit hole. I've seen enough. It's time to focus on my spiritual journey with the Lord Jesus and God. Thank you, Margo, and we'll meet on the other side, sister. I'm certain we will. Thank you, Rosemary. I feel very kindred with you. I feel very connected with you. And here's the link to this article. When the Navy sank nuclear waste with machine guns. And look at those stupid cartoon things. You know, oh, everything's fine, everything's okay. And you remember all the videos that they did showing, oh, if you want an education, just go to your local library and check out videos on nuclear testing and everything. Just check them out and take them home and watch them. You'll get an education, and you'll see the actual videos back from the 50s when they were doing all the nuclear testing up at the Nevada test site. They built a whole town, then they blew it up to see like what would happen, and it's all right there. It's all right there. And anyway, thank you, Rosemary. Thank you for that. And thank you for being here. Then DDDSB says, under my 50 years after video, great post, thank you, and I'm eager for your next report after your modem snafu. Is this your first broadcast disrupted by the same topic you report on? I'm not sure what you're referring to. If it's I'm not sure what you're referring to on that. If you'll just leave a clarification comment. My first broadcast disrupted by the same topic. Well, by technology. Yeah, technology is whatever. I have all kinds of problems. But thank you, DDDSB. And then Robin says, here is my own short video focusing in on the Kara Sea on Novaya Zemlya for the past few days. There's a lot of methane coming out of the Yamal Peninsula where the craters caused by methane are. And so we'll get that one copied and shared over for everybody. So thanks, Robin, for that. Yeah, we showed all of that. But if you want the Reader's Digest version, his video is only 1 minute and 4 seconds. He just cuts right to the chase. Thanks, Robin. And well, we'll finish up. Your updates on the Arctic sea ice and other things are welcome as well. This is from NT. This is from my video from yesterday. Well, yeah, and I do, thank you, NT, and I do bring Arctic sea ice when it's pertinent, and I was reporting on it all the time last summer, and even after the melt season was over, and I'm one of the few who reported on it even during the winter. But thank you for the input there, and so I'll just keep covering what I can. And thanks for being here. Sensible Hair says, Margo, my friend is back. Hope you enjoyed the break. I think he left that comment before he heard me tell my story. I did not enjoy the break, and I'm rather be here and doing my therapy by recording videos and uploading them than having the week that I went through, the week from hell. But thank you, Sensible Hair. Thanks for being here. Valhalla 56 says, wow, that was quite an adventure. I'm glad everything is back working again, Margo. I missed your post. Oh, thank you, Valhalla. I missed your post. I miss being here. Then Stephen K. says, welcome back, Margo, and thanks again for all your hard work. Your shows have been fantastic. I've especially been loving the news roundup you do. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry to hear about your stressful week, and I'm disgusted to hear you've come under various attacks over the years. I'm really tired of this insane world, the lies, the apathy, the consumerism, the making of weapons, the whole thing. My sentiments exactly. Hope you get better soon in whatever way you need. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. I appreciate it. We all feel the same way. We feel the same way as you do about this, how everything is turned awful. Ultra High Carb Life says, I was worried about you. I'm glad you're okay, and I'm glad you're back. Thank you. Glad to be back. Colin Shaw says, hi, Margo. Great reporting as usual. Can't help feeling and sensitive to an unexplainable change or awakening. Truth knows. I just know the human race will be jolted in a big way because they want to remain asleep whilst insisting they're awake. Oh, that's so true. For myself, as only God can know, I started out and lived many years of my physical life saying less of me and more of God. Now, none of me and all of God. This is the answer as I walk across and away from the human battlefield. Absolutely. And, you know, that comes with experience, it comes with age, it comes with seeing, learning to see behind the veils, and it comes with wisdom. And you get wisdom from your experiences and also understanding as you go within and reconcile everything in a spiritual way. And unless you do that, everything is a mush, and you keep going over stuff over and over and over, saying, you know, maybe I should have done it this way, maybe I should have done it that way, my life sucks, everything sucks, you know, my life is ruined, when in reality we realize that this is Satan's world, and we're here behind enemy lines, really, and we just didn't realize. And in the Bible, Jesus says this, I can't quote it word for word, but he says that this is not his world, that his kingdom, his Father's kingdom is of many mansions and all this stuff. But he says, this is not my world. And I feel the same way. This is not my world. Never was. I never fit in. I never felt comfortable here. I tried and tried and tried all my life to fit in, and I was just so sensitive and very smart, you know, on a roll all the way. You know, graduated with honors from college and all this stuff, but you know, I did never understood all the violence and war and, you know, all the millions and billions of dollars that's spent on the sports teams and football, and, you know, these guys making millions of dollars for one season contract. It's unreal. And, you know, these are the people that we worship. These, and the actors and everything, these are the people who are idolized and everything. And it's not real. It's totally fake. And I mean, why aren't people, just normal people who have struggles and hardships that they go through, and then they come out victorious on the other side, why aren't they held up as an example? Why aren't they you know, interviewed and made more famous? You know, it's all twisted and it's all wrong, and our values are all wrong, and it's all about glitter and fame and fortune, and, you know, and more and more and more, and what you can get out of people, and it's not about expressing God's love. It's nothing about that. And living here in peaceful harmony with nature and with God's creation. And that's how Satan has perverted everything. And I'll be glad to leave here, frankly. So thank you, Colin. I feel you're a kindred soul. I feel very kindred with you too. Nostradamus says, I'm going to get me one of them Zapper headbands. Wonder if they do industrial strength. Good to have you back, Margo. Yeah, I think I need a super industrial strength headband every now and then. You know, I'd just rather stay depressed. You know, I'd just rather be depressed, because then I know it's not fake. I don't want to feel anything fake. I want to feel whatever it is. I want to feel it in spades. I want to feel whatever it is, because then I know it's real. Thanks, Nostradamus. Thanks, Dave. Glad to be back. Guyo Smith says, we're not going to need to know much longer. I feel your pain. I see Facebook changing every day, invaded by the MSM narrative. Time is getting short. Is the saving grace. It won't get better or last much longer. I hope so, Guyo. I hope so. I'm just praying every day. Please, you know, come soon, Jesus. Random Variable says, sounds like you two have gotten the message from God. God bless. I think so. God bless you too, Random Variable. Robert Forsyth says, kindness and love. Mother's goodness shows. Thank you so much for your work. You're welcome, Robert. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your comment. And then Tom Bell says, glad you're back, Margo. I'm glad to be back, Tom. I missed all of you guys. So, we're all caught up on comments now. So I can close that browser out. And I'm going to take a short break and clear out my cookies. And I will be right back for Earthquake Report. Don't go anywhere. Okay, I'm back. Now, we're going to go over to USGS. I have the last 24 hours pulled up for all magnitudes worldwide. We're showing 201 on the map. And for 2.5 magnitude and higher, we're showing 39 on the map. So let's see what's going to come off the map soon, and we'll start there. This 3.9. They hardly ever show a 3.9 outside of the United States. This was near Valparaiso, Chile, yesterday at 5:55 p.m., 35 kilometers deep. See, it was right off the coast. And then we've got two more. That was the first one. Then the next one was a 4.5 near San Antonio, Chile. That happened last night at 11:57. And then a 5.5 near San Antonio, Chile, that happened this morning. Or, no, I'm sorry, this afternoon at 12:21 p.m. So these are all in the water. Didn't cause any damage, but it's right on that red line. So let's see what else is about to come off. Puerto Rico, Ridgely, Tennessee. Okay, we've got time. Let's look at the Dominican Republic next. We've got all magnitudes pulled up for Dominican Republic, and we're showing 13 here today. And the 2.9, that's the oldest one, up here in the ocean north of Puerto Rico. 1.7, 3.4, that's a little bit higher. 2.5, 2.8, 2.9, 3.1, 2.6, 2.0, 1.9, 3.0, 2.4, 1.9. So those were not big enough to do any damage, but see, it's active. It's just showing activity is what that means. While we're over here, let's look at this one in the Cayman Islands. This one came in, it was a 4.1 near Georgetown, Cayman Islands. This happened at 4:55 this morning, right on this red line. While we're here, here's one that came off the coast of Nicaragua, of 4.3 near Masachapa, Nicaragua, at today at 5:19 p.m., 35 kilometers deep. Now, we saw Chile. Let's move on around to the Pacific. Down here in Indonesia, we've got two. We had a 5.2 near Panguna, Papua New Guinea, that happened last night at 6:17 p.m., 69 kilometers deep. It's in the ocean. Actually, no, it was on this little tiny island here. It's showing a tsunami wave. So let's look at that and see if there was a report of a tsunami wave. No tsunami wave. The last tsunami wave report was that 7.1 in Peru that we reported on already. So that could have caused damage. That one, how deep was that? 69 kilometers deep. That could have caused damage on land. Then here's one in the ocean of 4.8 near Alotau, Papua New Guinea at 4:27 this morning. Coming on around, here's one off the coast of Sumatra, just to the west of this little island, 4.5 near Sinabang, Indonesia at 2:30 this afternoon, 35 kilometers deep. Coming on up, here's a 5.6 near Davao, Philippines at 11:46 this morning, 14 kilometers deep. That was in the ocean, so it probably didn't do any damage. Next, coming up this red line, was a 4.9 near Farallon de Pájaros, Northern Mariana Islands at 8:34 this morning, 121 kilometers deep. Next, this one on the red line, a 5.3 near Izu Islands, Japan at 7:51 this morning. A lot of fives is what we're noticing. A lot of fives. Here's a 6.0. This one came in last night near Nimuro, Japan, right on the red line at 7:22 p.m. So to the east of this northern island of Hokkaido. So probably didn't do any damage, but they're getting big. 4.6 near Kurilsk, Russia at 12:06 this morning, 165 kilometers deep. That's pretty deep. Let's see. Okay, here's one in Iran, a 4.3 near Kerman, Iran at 2:04 this morning. Moving around the world, here's one right on the line in the Atlantic Ocean, 4.9 at the northern mid-Atlantic ridge at 10 o'clock last night. And let's go to Hawaii next. We're looking at all magnitudes. We've only got 5 here today. I'll just call them all off. 2.5, 2.0, 2.1, 1.7, and 2.4. So there's those. That's kind of slowed down. Now let's come on up to this one down in the Baja Gulf. A 4.3 near San Felipe, Mexico. This one happened at 3:42 this morning. And see this red line? That's a tectonic plate line. That's the imperial plate line. It's an extension of the San Andreas plate fault line. Imperial fault line. And so those are fault lines. Now, let's go up to Alaska. This one is new, 4.2 near Atka, Alaska at 5:07 this afternoon, 208 kilometers deep. So you remember what the deep ones do. They make things move around the planet. 2.9 near False Pass. 2.8 near Akutan. 2.3 near Chernabura Island. 2.4 near Chirikov Island. 2.4 near Chignik Lake. 2.5 near King Salmon. This one is 184 kilometers deep. I'm just trying to pick some of the larger ones and look at them. Oh, look, here's one. We normally don't see them at Nome. Oh, it's not at Nome. It's 2.7, 148 kilometers northeast of Nome at 9:22 this morning. Here's a pair. Here's a 2.6 near Kobuk and 1.3. Remember we saw this swarm here yesterday. And then up in the northern part was 2.7 near Koktovik and 2.9 near Arctic Village. Coming on down at 2.0 near Tanana. So let's see if I can get all of Alaska in view here. We've got 67 on the map today. Here's a new one, 2.1 near Cantwell. Let's see what's 2.5 magnitude and higher. I think we already got them. Yeah, we already got them all. So there's Anchorage and there's the cluster down there. So the little ones are important, even though most people don't talk about them. Now, down in the lower 48, we've got 2.6 near Ridgely, Tennessee, that happened yesterday at 6:12 p.m. And then a 2.1 near Steele, Missouri, that happened this morning at 4:57 in the morning. These are in that New Madrid hazardous zone. Moving across into Oklahoma, we've got two. They're kind of hard to see. They're stacked. See, they're stacked right up on top of each other. There was a 1.9 and a 1.9. Two 1.9s within 47 minutes of each other. This one happened at 7 o'clock last night, and then the second one happened at 7:47 last night. Then up here was a 2.8 near Cherokee at 2:20 this morning. Moving on across into Utah, we've got three here at Enterprise, a 2.7, 1.8, and 1.4. Down the Yellowstone region, we've got three listed. 2.0 near Challis, Idaho, and 1.4 near Lincoln, Montana, and 1.3 near Lincoln, Montana. Coming on up to the North Pacific Northwest. We've got, get those off the map, 3. We've got a 1.3 near Manchester, Washington, 0.7 near Packwood, and 0.1 near Desert Air. Oh, by the way, yesterday I said I didn't see explosions. There were just so many on the map because I was doing the 7-day report. I couldn't see them. There were explosions. I went back and did a search, and they were blasting and doing explosions, so they didn't go away. I just thought I'd follow up on that for everyone. Now moving on down, we have 2 right here near Petrolia. Here's the 3.8 that happened last night at 11:55 p.m. 19 kilometers deep, and a 2.7 at 2:09 this morning, 10.6 kilometers deep, right near the San Andreas fault line, and this is the Juan de Fuca plate. So this is a highly active area. Then let's see what's going on at the geysers. We've got 24 here today. Pretty small. 2.2. That's the largest one. The rest of them are, looks like ones and under, mainly under 1. Here's a 1.5. But that's a high number for the geysers. Now let's move on across to northern California. Here's one near Truckee. 1.0 near Truckee at 7:10 last night. Now let's see what's going on in Nevada. The earthquake makers are not at work today. See? Look at this. Look at this clean slate. Here's a little tiny one near Hawthorne, 0.8. Look at this clean slate. Here's 2. Here's 2 at Warm Springs, 1.5 and 1.5 at Warm Springs. And here's a little itty bitty one down here near Pahrump, 0.4. And normally we don't see them in this area right down here. This is south of Las Vegas. Here's Henderson, but we've got 3 in this area. Here's a 1.4 at Boulder City, and then 1.7 near Enterprise, Nevada, and 1.7 near Henderson. Yeah, those are side by side. Just call it just a different reporting station. What is that? It's a mountain range. Anyway. I'm not sure. Oh, here's Lake Mead. That's where the Hoover Dam is located. We haven't looked at that. That's for another day for us to investigate the Hoover Dam. Okay, now let's come up this east side of California, then we'll come down the west side. Here's a 1.8 near Tehachapi. Here's a 0.3 near Irwin. And we've got several here in this whole viewing area. Here's a little one. 1.0 near Wofford Heights. 1.1 Little Lake. 1.1 Coso Junction. 1.6 Coso Junction, 1.2 Lone Pine, 0.0 near Beatty, and 0.8 near Beatty. Then up here near Long Valley, we've got 4, 1.5, 1.7, 0.9, 1.4, all right there near Mammoth Lakes. Here's one near Mono Lake. Bridgeport, near Bridgeport, 1.1. Now, got some activity in Berkeley. We've got a 2.0 near 2 kilometers east-northeast of Berkeley, California at 7:40 this morning. 1.0 near El Cerrito at 12:38 this afternoon at a negative 0.3 kilometers depth. You know what that means. 1.6 near Berkeley at 2:13 this afternoon. Up here it's 1.6, down here it's 1.7. So Berkeley's rocking. Oh look, we've got 2 in this little bay. Here's a 2.2 near Pacific Grove at 7:12 this morning, and a 1.4 near Opal Cliffs at 7:06 last night. And a 0.9 near San Juan Bautista. Here's another one in the ocean. Here's a 2.1 near Point Sur at 12:56 this afternoon. .9 near Kalami at 12:36 this afternoon. See this red line? That's the San Andreas Fault. We're following that down. I think we saw this one. Yep, Tehachapi. Then moving on down into Southern California. Here's one in the ocean, a 1.9 near Avalon. And we've got 25 on the map today. That's not very many for Southern California. That's not very many. So the earthquake makers are at home for the weekend. The blasters, the exploders, all of them are at home. And so these are small. These are in the ones and under range. So if we just look, here's a couple right there. I mean, they're just scattered around in the mountains. Here's Kauai. Look, only 6 here today. That's the lowest I've ever seen them at Kauai. So let's zoom out. We've got several right down here in Los Angeles. Anyway, now let's see if anything of significance came in while I was recording. We saw that one, Nicaragua. We saw Cinnabon, Indonesia. We saw king salmon, Alaska. We saw all of those. So I guess that's a wrap. So I love you guys. I'll be talking to you real soon. Time is short. No one knows the day or the hour. And everyone needs to get right with God and Jesus. Get your spiritual house in order and be ready to go at any time. I'll talk to you real soon. God bless. Go in peace and goodbye.